What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is yours truly. It's been a while since I did a Facebook Live, so I am glad to be back. I'm glad to get a chance to kind of talk to you guys. By the way, big shout out to Facebook, man, to give people the ability to start doing Facebook Live through like their computer. So I'm doing this off my laptop directly, so that makes it much easier. Um, but I want to jump straight to it, man. One thing I've realized, depending on also what I'm going to talk about, is understanding the power of staying on topic and staying focusing to the point. So today we're going to talk about something that I think is going to be quite beneficial to so many of you guys watching. For a long time, I got caught up like I always felt like I had so many things to do, right? Being someone who has kind of an entrepreneur bone to me, there are so many goals and things I wanted to achieve. But for a long time, I felt like there were so many different paths I could go, right? I felt like, okay, when I was young, I felt like I had to become a fighter jet pilot. I always was fascinated by something like that, becoming a fighter jet pilot. And then when I started getting a little bit older, when I was kind of like by preteen years, I thought to myself, okay, you know what? I'm not going to be a fighter jet pilot. You know what I definitely want to do is I want to become a teacher. I want to be able to teach people different things. And then after a while, I was like, man, I definitely don't want to be the teacher. That sounds boring. I want to do something that is maybe more fun. I thought to myself, okay, what I want to do is I want to become a musician. You know what I mean? Travel the world. And I realized maybe I don't have that gifting to be like a drummer. Like, specifically, I wanted to become a drummer. And then I was like, you know what, that's not for me. But I had continuously, I always had these goals, these different things that I wanted to achieve in my head. And then in the end, I realized that I always kind of had to come back to focus on one single thing. And I kind of want to share with you guys a story that we're going to see in the scriptures. We're going to see it in Luke chapter 10. And when I understood my purpose, when I understood really specifically what God has called me to do, and specifically what God has called me to achieve for Him in this particular time in my life, it freed me from a lot of things. See, in life, once you know what you're supposed to do, you also know what you shouldn't do. Let me repeat that. When you know what you're supposed to do, what you're called to do, what your purpose is, you also know the things that will not get you towards that purpose. You also automatically discover the things that are not going to help you achieve whatever that goal, your destiny is. So your goal then should be to try to stay away for any form of distraction that can take you away from the path that will lead you towards the goal and the fulfillment of the things you have to achieve. See, that was the thing for me. Once I understood, okay, here's the goal, here's the place I'm trying to go. These things, maybe these friends, these books, that environment, this study, spending my time here or there will not get me towards the goal I'm trying to achieve. It was just kind of simple for me, right? I understood, okay, if I'm trying to get here, maybe that road is not going to lead me towards where I'm trying to get to. So once you understand where you're going, what your destiny is, what you're called to do, you automatically also know what you shouldn't do because it's going to detour you or create a level of distraction, unnecessary distraction towards the goal you're trying to achieve. So that was the biggest thing for me. So once I understood that, it freed a lot of different things for me. So in this particular passage, I want to take you guys to the scriptures. We see Jesus, and he's going to give a lesson, and I think it's going to be very powerful to speak on what I want to talk about right now. For those of you guys who aren't familiar with the scriptures, see, the Bible is divided in chapters and verses, and sometimes some chapters have whole stories. So it's a whole particular thought or story is compressed into one single chapter. You can read, some in Psalms, Matthew, Genesis, whatever, where a whole story is told in one particular chapter. From the beginning of the thought to the end of whatever the author was trying to say, all is comprised in one chapter. And then you move to the second chapter. It could be chapter 1, talks about everything you wanted to say. Chapter 2 is something else. But there are also some cases in the scripture where one single chapter can have many different stories, many different thoughts that the author is writing, and all that is comprised in one single chapter. So in Luke chapter 10 is one of the latter. So we see an example of the author, there's many different stories or points he's making in this particular chapter. I think it's actually one of my is becoming one of my more favorite chapters of the scriptures. There's so many that is comprised here. We get stories like famous stories like the story of the Good Samaritan, the story, the famous verse where it says you should love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, with all your strength. It's found in this chapter. We also find stories of when Jesus sent the 72, the disciples, and they came back and said, Lord, even the evil spirit and the demons obeyed us, right? All that is found in this chapter. So this chapter is full of crazy, amazing story, right? In this chapter, there's a story of Mary and Martha, right? And I think this is one of a famous story that you guys know. So what I want you guys to do is we're going to be reading that particular story. We're going to be going down. I want you guys to read Luke chapter 10, but we're going to start from verse 38, all right? So this is what we're going to start. Again, there's many stories. So when you're reading this, you'll be like, oh man, there's many stories in this particular passage. The story that I want to focus on is near the end. It's actually the last story of Luke chapter 10. So verse 38. So here it says, as Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had her sister called Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparation that had to be done and had to be made. She came to him, talking about Jesus, and asked, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her to help me. I mean, it's a natural, right? Because think about it, guys. It's a natural reason why, like in this particular case, Martha would feel like Jesus. Like, if you ever had guests home, you know what I mean? You invite a guest in your home. You want to prepare an environment where the guests feel comfortable. You want to prepare a meal, bring some refreshments or things like that. Plus, this is Jesus. In this particular context, we see that Mary and Martha respected Christ, so they wanted to, give him the best of any form or thing that they could provide. So Martha's in the kitchen, cooking with pots and pans, trying to do everything she can to have an environment that's conducive to having, Jesus coming in and enjoying his time with them. Mary is like, I'll let you in the kitchen do your work. I want to listen to what Jesus is talking about. So she's over there just at the feet of Jesus, listening to Jesus. And Martha is telling Jesus, don't you see this? Can you tell my sister to come in the kitchen to help me cook so we can have something that is prepared and well done for you? And I love Jesus' answer. Jesus' answer to Martha, I think, is one of the catalysts of really where I want to take you guys. This is what Jesus says. Jesus says, Martha, Martha, listen. You are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. Let me repeat again what Jesus said. He said, Martha, Martha, listen. You are worried and upset about many things. Would you say that could be you today? Like, there's so many things that you're trying to do, right? That you feel like there's all these different places you have to put your hand into all the time. You're so much worried about, okay, I got to do this for my work. I got to worry this about the kids. What about this with my husband? I got to worry about the husband. Oh, what about the in-laws? Well, what I'm thinking about my taxes. Now I'm thinking, like, there's so many things you're worried and you're actually getting nothing done. In this particular case, one thing I love when I read this story, it brought a lot of peace to me, because when I was young, like I told you, I wanted to do so many things. Even when I grew up, by the time I was in college, I always thought to myself, okay, here's the things I want to do. I want to accomplish this by the time I'm 25. I want to accomplish this by the time I'm 28. I want to accomplish this by the time I'm 30. Like, all these were the big goals that I wanted to do, right? So I started dabbling in this. I dabbled in that. I dabbled in this. I started putting my hands in so many different things. And in this particular passage, I love what Jesus is telling Martha. It says, you're worried about way too many things, and only few things matter. Only few things matter, right? And this kind of brings me to what Paul said in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, in verse 23. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 23. Paul, one thing I love about Paul says, I have the right to do anything, but only, no, he said, I have the right to do anything, but not everything is beneficial. You know what I mean? Paul is talking to a gentleman. He said, I have the right to do anything, but not everything is beneficial. So that means if not everything is beneficial, there's only some few things are beneficial. In this particular context, we see that Martha is so preoccupied about preparing a meal to Jesus that she's forgetting what is actually beneficial. The fact that you have Jesus in your house. Like, let me tell you something that Martha did that we are all guilty of, right? And especially those believers, those of you guys who are Christian, those of you guys who believe in Christ, often enough, if you're being accustomed to being around church or church folks, you will see that we're guilty of this, and myself included. We're guilty of misconception or assumption of what Jesus wants. See, in this particular case, what is said is Martha assumed that Jesus was hungry. Like, Martha is so preoccupied in the kitchen, she's assuming that Jesus is hungry, that Jesus needs a meal, so she's over there trying to break her head, trying to cook something, and she's like, Jesus, tell Mary to join me, this is too much work, we need to cook a meal, make sure you're fed. Where Mary, on the other hand, is like, forget about trying to feed Jesus. He is the bread of life. He's trying to feed us life forever. You're trying to give him a meal that will satisfy him temporarily when he's trying to give us something that will give us life forever. Right? How many of us have walked our lives right now, have misconception about what Jesus wants? Like, you have an idea what Jesus wants from you, but did you actually take time to really study? What exactly does Jesus want from me? Or did you just say, oh, well, it's Jesus, so he definitely wants me to do this or do that. Did you actually hear him tell you to do this? The moment you discover your purpose, the less time you spend on things that will not bring you to where you need to go. The moment you discover where you need to go, the less routes that are not leading you to your end, you will start taking. I remember Dr. Miles Monroe said, I think he was talking to Benny Hinn one time, and there was a show I saw on TV, and I heard the gentleman say something that completely blew my mind. He said, when you're on the highway, he said, what is a bad exit? I was like, what? So for those of you guys who don't understand, right? So let's say if you're driving on a major motorway, you're on a highway, and then there's different exits, right? He said, so he asked, what is a bad exit? And it was like, well, I don't know, like an exit that is closed, and the exit that, the speed limit is too hard. Like, I'm just thinking like, okay, what are the bad exits? And this is what he said, there's no bad exit. Every exit is good, but not every exit is the right exit. Not every exit off the highway is the right exit. So how do you determine the right exit? It's all determined based on your destination. If your destination, according to the GPS you put in, tells you that you have to get out at exit 47, if you get out at exit 46, that is a bad exit. That's not the right exit. You know what I mean? It's not because 46 is inherently bad. It's just not the exit that will get you towards your destination. Right? So many of you guys, you're trying too many things. You just don't know what your destination is. So now you're taking 46 instead of 47. And you're wondering why things are not working out. You're so busy about trying to put so much work at work, you forgetting your home. Like, you're a parent and you might be a mom and you're trying to bring all the money in so you can feed your children, so you can provide, so that you can give to your children those shoes that they want to wear. Actually, your kids just want to spend quality time with you. Like, I have nothing wrong with people going to work. Actually, I implore you to go to work. You need to feed your family. You got to do what you got to do. But the problem is, if you're so busy and you get tired by every time you go to work, and by the time you get home, you don't have time to spend with your family because you're so tired, and you're going to wake up super early. By the time you wake up, they're already out at school, or by the time you're up, they're still sleeping because you got to go early to work and you got to come late. You're missing the point. You know what I mean? And then your kids grow up and they act like they really don't know you because you weren't there. But everything you did was for them. You see the point I'm trying to say? Like, you have to start thinking to yourself, okay, how can I sacrifice to the fact that I can be present during the fact when I'm trying to grow my children at this critical time in their lives? Maybe it might be cutting off some shifts. It might be maybe dropping one job and just keeping to one single job instead of having multiple jobs. It could be, maybe trading different days with your husband, or working out a plan. Or it could be, okay, you could tell your husband, okay, listen, I'm going to go to school right now. You're going to stay home, or vice versa. And making a compromise so that you stick to what your destination is. Because the moment you miss what your destination is, you're going to be taking exits that will not get you there because you don't know what it is. See, many of you guys, you're busy with too many things and you're still not getting the purpose, your destiny accomplished. That for me was a big thing. Like, it made me realize, okay, first of all, you need to discover what is your destination. What is your intended end? Where are you trying to achieve? Where are the places you're trying? How would you know that you've succeeded? Like, some people, I hear a lot of young people today talk about, I'm trying to make sure I reach success. They have all these lofty words that you want to use for success, but then when you ask them, okay, what is success for you? And how would you know that you've achieved success? What does that mean? Well, like, what does success look at to them? Like, they might have this, like, you might have this idea of, like, okay, I want to have this nice car, I want to drive a Bentley, I want to drive this crazy car, I want to have the mansion, the big house, I want to make sure, that I'm just have, a certain amount of money in the bank. Like, they have these lofty goals of what success is for them. But when you start continuing to ask them, you realize really what they want is just to be comfortable. They just want to make sure that they have enough, that their family is taken care of. They want to be able to travel where they want to be able to impact the lives that they can do. Like, that is the actual goal, right? So if that's the actual goal, then you should make sure that everything you do is to get that specific goal and not just getting things that are not beneficial to your intended end. You know what I mean? Once you understand where you need to go, you also know what things will not take you there. Like, I know where I'm trying to go, and I understand what type of friends will not get me there. I understand what type of books will not get me there. I understand what kind of TV shows will not get me there. I understand what type of, or how I spend my time that will not get me there. Because I understand my goal. One of the things that we spoke in our ministry for 2017 was that 2017 was the year of evident progress, right? So I had to put in my mind, what does evident progress look like for Salem Soni in 2017? Like, I have to tangibly understand what that means, and you have to do the same. To me, it was like, okay, evident progress means that in every aspect of my life, so I chose different aspects of my life, I said, I cannot be the same as 2016. So in my health, in my physique, like, I've been regular going to the gym this year, not because, it's one of those New Year's resolutions. It's just because, to me, I have to see progress in myself so that I can say that in 2017, it is much different than it was in 2016, right? Like, in my faith, am I growing in my walk with Christ, in my word? Am I growing in my intimacy with the Lord? Am I growing in my prayer life? Am I growing in my impact, in my time with Him? Right? And when I look, is it comparable to what was last year? Because what the goal is to have evident progress. Evident means that it has to be seen, not just something that I'm thinking I'm changing. That's the goal, right? So things that are distracting me from that goal, I have to put it aside. Like, another aspect, I was like, okay, I have to have more money in my bank account than I had in 2016. That for me means I have evident progress, right? Because if at the end of 2017, I look at my bank account, it is very similar to when it was in 2016, then there's no progress, right? It could be impact. It could be, okay, how many people do I want to work with in 2017 compared to how many people I helped in 2016, right? I want to help more people. I want to become more impactful. To me, one of the goals was, okay, I need to start speaking to schools. So to me, it was clear. I had to put myself in places where I'm speaking to different universities, speaking to students, to try to bring some form of help. That is evident progress. See, I have a clear goal. I understand, okay, progress means this way. It could be travel to more places. It could be maybe travel to less places and have more impact in the places that I travel to. Right? Because I've traveled, right? I've done that before, but I'm like, okay, how can I go from just traveling as a tourist to traveling as an impact maker, as a change maker, as a change agent? Like another thing for me was, okay, I need to connect more with my root, my African root. I need to connect more with other change makers in Africa. Okay, we did something in 2015 with Sal about, Africa Diamond podcast. Okay, how can I reconnect and do something along those lines to inspire many other people of African descent who also trying to change and bring some positivity and trying to inspire them? Like, how can I do that? To me, those were clear goals. Another goal was, okay, how many people can I touch with Christ? How many people can I help discover that Jesus loves them and they don't have to live in the situation that they are? How many people can be touched by the healing power of Christ, whether it might be emotionally, physically, mentally? How many people can I be able to impact in the places that I go, whether it might be from the barbershop to the office, whether it might be at the gym, or somebody that I met on the way? How many people can I sit down with? How many people can I be present with? See, once I know what that is, I know that I can't just spend my time just watching TV for 24 hours, because that is not going to help me to get towards my goal. Once you know what you are, you stop trying to be busy with many things, and you only focus on the few things that matter. See, in this specific story, Jesus told Martha, listen, you're worried and upset about way too many things, and not all of it is beneficial. In this particular case, you see Mary, she's sitting at the feet of the master because she understood that I'm not here to assume that Jesus is hungry and I need to feed him. But I know I'm hungry and I want the bread of life. I want somebody to give me something that will bring that notion that I need to be fed. She understood what she wanted. You have to understand exactly what in 2017 do you want. It's already the third month of the year. What do you want? What is your clear goal? What is, by the end of 2017, would you know that you've succeeded? Have you written down on paper? Do your friends know it? Do your family know it? Does your spouse know it? Do your children know it? As a family, do you have a goal that in this family in 2017, for us to achieve, this is what to do? And then when somebody is trying to do something that was going to distract you from the goal, you remind them, guys, this is the goal. See, if as your family, as a family say, okay, collectively, we have to raise this amount of money so we can live in a better apartment, in a better house, in a better community, then you know that next time you're trying to come and you're trying to buy those shoes, or you're trying to get that dress, or you're trying to get the car, you know that that's going to distract you from getting enough money so you can move to the neighborhood you want. Then it's not the goal. Then it's not the destination. Then it's getting the wrong exit. Then you're going to tell them, no, we can't do that. Focusing on the goal. Focusing on the goal. If you're a minister, one of your goals is to grow your church in 2017, then you have to do everything that helps you grow your church. If you know there are activities that hinder you from growing your church, then those are side activities. Try to delegate to someone else. And you should focus on growing your church, on activities that help you stay on track. Help you stay on track. Your goal, you got to understand, what is your goal? Can I remain on my goal? Can I remain focused on the things that can help you get where I need to get? Don't be busy with many things, because only few things are beneficial. Man, I'm glad that only a few things are beneficial, that I don't have to stress myself about so many other things, that only a few things actually matter. I'm going to give you guys a practical tip that I give to some of the students and the clients that I work with. So if you have many things that you're doing right now, it could be, you could use this in your family, you could use this in your professional life, you could use this in, whether one of your goals is fitness, whatever one of your goals is spiritually, you could use this goal, this tactic, is dividing your time in 3 different portions, right? 3 portions. By dividing your time in 3 portions, here are the key parts you want to divide your time. 1, you want to divide your time in what I call constructive, the constructive time, or in business world we call it IPA, income producing activities. Income producing activities, right? So obviously this is in the financial world, so it talks about producing income, but it could also be in your life, in your family, right? Because you could say, okay, with my marriage right now, I want my husband and us, or my wife and I, to grow closer, right? So you could say, okay, is intimacy producing activity? Intimacy producing activity. You could say, okay, I want to grow fitness. I want to be more fit. I want to go make sure that when I look at the mirror, I don't laugh at myself. I want to make sure that I am in a shape so that when the summer comes, I can be more relaxed. So there it could be health producing activity, good health producing activity, right? So whatever you do, having activities that can produce the results you want. That's the first portion, right? So schedule a portion of your week, right? It could be those IPA could be 4 days out of the week or 3 days out of the week that you know that these are the days I got to focus on the things that can help me get towards my goal. It's important. And then the second portion, the second part is focusing on the things you have to do, but that will help you free time towards your IPA. Let me explain. For example, if you're a mom and your goal is to create more intimacy with your husband, you still know you have responsibility to your children, to the community, to family, to going to work, right? So those things you have to do. You got to go to work. Bills have to be paid. You got to make sure you take care of the children. But make sure that those times that you spend going to work, taking care of the children, all these things, do not eat so much of your time that you're not actually putting time towards spending time with your husband. Because I'm going to tell you straight up, man, your children are going to grow up and they're going to leave, and then you're going to get stuck with your husband. So if your family was only a children-centered marriage, when the children get out, then what happens? I know I'm not married and I might be stepping on some toes, but I'm trying to speak without offending, but I also want you to listen without defending. I'm just trying to be very blunt and honest with you, right? So make sure that you schedule a portion of your week that could be, set aside for doing those activities you have to. Like, for example, if it's work, instead of doing it per week, it could be per day. Like, if you work 5 days a week, it could be, 8 hours when I'm at work, I'm only focusing on work stuff. And when I come home, I can spend the next 2 hours working on the children, making sure they're fed, make sure we do their homework, make sure we work on something like that. And then, boom, the reminder time is me and my boo. I got to focus on her. I got to focus and make sure she's okay, that she know me. What was the last time we went on a date? What was the last time that she know that I just cuddled with her and I loved her, right? That's in that particular case. It could be, let's say, fitness, right? You know that 8 hours, you got to be at work. You got to do what you got to do. So go to work, do what you got to do at work. And when you come home, like the next time you got to go to the gym. Or it could be reversed. In the morning before you go, you wake up hours earlier, boom, you're at the gym. Because this is this is an IPA. This is a health producing activity. This is the goal. You got to do it, right? You do the thing that's going to reach you towards that body. You're trying to lose a couple pounds. You're trying to lose 10 pounds. By losing 10 pounds in about 2 months, that means I got to lose this amount of pounds per week. That means I got to eat this, because this is it's an IPA. It's an activity that's going to produce your goal, right? And then you take that time to do what you have to do. You got to show up at work on time. You got to do what you got to do. You got to call your friends. You got to make sure everything is good, because you don't want your whole life to be consuming just doing your IPA. Your life is not going to be balanced, right? So that's in the part 2. So number 1, you got to do IPA activities. You got to do IPAs. You got to do income producing activities. You got to be health producing activity, intimacy producing activity, family producing activity, joy producing activities. Whatever the activities towards the goal that you set, you got to do them. And then you got to do the stuff you have to do. You have to set the time for going to work, taking care of the family, being part of the church, with your pastor. That means, receiving members. That means going to counseling. That means, taking time to do what you got to do. That may not be necessarily towards your goal of growing your church, but these are activities of the church. You have to do them, right? And thirdly, you have to take a shut off time. Shut off time. What I mean by shut off time? Shut off time is a time whenever you decide to just shut it all. Do nothing. Like literally, this is a time to yourself. A time to you concentrate, meditate, reflect, and just to yourself. It could be a time where maybe you're a mother with kids, so you can't just leave and leave the kids about, oh guys, I'm gone for the weekend. It could not be that. Maybe it could just be, actually spending time to just yourself. It could be sometime in the morning where, before the kids are awoken, you take some time, you just get your coffee done. You and your coffee, you just sit there and you just think, you listen to good music. If it's your time to meditate, your time there, you're meditating. If you got to read the scriptures, if you got to go on a walk, it's just your shut off time. It's your time to yourself. It's your time to just be there, right? It could be If you're a business owner, it could be like you take the weekend, like you don't answer any phone calls, you don't read any emails, you don't have to worry about any clients. Like that's your time to yourself. You refresh, you're good, and then when Monday comes, you're back to work, to IPA, right? And then you do the stuff that you have to do, but make sure you have that time when you just relax, you just shut off. It's up to you, right? You can divide it weekly, have a couple of days when that is. It could be one day where you completely shut off, and then some, like it could be like 3 days where you have to do what you have to do, and the other 3 days you do IPA, depending on how you want to break it down. You could break it down per hour, per day. The morning could be your shut off time, your you time. You don't want anybody to talk to you. Nobody comes to your room. Close your room. You can tell your husband, you talk to him and say, hey, honey, I love you, but the morning is my time. I just want to make sure I do what I got to do to make sure I'm in a good place. And then, boom, when you're up, now you got to do what you got to do, take care of your children, make sure they're ready to go to work, boom. And then you out there. You work on your goal, the IPA, the income producing activity. It will help you stay on track to what your goal is so that you don't get in this rat race of doing too many things that are not beneficial, right? So I'm going to leave you guys with this question. I think it's 30 minutes, so I'm about to peace out. But I'm going to leave you guys with this question. It's almost the end of the year. When you look at the things you've done so far in 2017, were they all beneficial? Did you do enough of the things to help you get towards what you said would be your goal for 2017? What you said would be your goal for your life, for this season in your life? Like long-term goals for your family, for your children. Like when you look at the goals that you put in place, are all these goals going to get you towards what you said you were going to achieve, get to in your marriage, in your fitness, in your business, in your work, in your church, whatever the case may be, right? So I hope this was beneficial to you. I hope so. You guys know I love you guys dearly, and it's been a while, man, since we did a Facebook Live, but we're going to build it back up. No promises right now because, I'm still trying to also make sure that my IPAs are in line with the things I have to do on my shut-off days. So I think, Facebook Live for a season was definitely one of the things I wanted to implement in place because it was part of my IPAs. But, as things kind of changed, other focuses came into place. But I'm gonna try to do it maybe as soon as or as often as I can to try to bring some nuggets to you guys. But again, it was from Luke chapter 10. We started from verse 38 and just chopped it up from there. An incredible story. I hope this has been beneficial to you. Let me know in the comment section. Okay, what is one of the goals you're trying to achieve? And according to what I talked about, what are some of the strategies you're going to do? Are you going to be focusing on just the beneficial things? How are you going to break it down? Are you going to do it per day, per week? Let me know in the comment section. If you want to work personally, because one of the things I started working is I work with individuals personally. For example, if there's a specific goal you want me to work on, you say, okay, hey, Salem, I'm planning on doing something. I'm thinking about this. Few people I can do this free for. I can't do free for everybody. I just don't have the time of the day to do so. But let's say the first 5 to 10 individuals. 5 or 10 is a big difference. Let's just say, okay, the first 5 individuals who reach out to me and say, oh, Salem, okay, I want you to kind of do a breakdown with me of like, we're going to strategize, okay, what are some of the things you can do to kind of create that balance and you stay focused to your goal. Maybe it could be goal setting. You know what I mean? Maybe you just don't know what your goal is. You have an idea of things you want. You just haven't set a clear goal. And we're going to be giving you like, I can give you like actionable steps towards that goal. So you will know that some of the steps you're taking, those things will not get you towards your goal, right? We can work something like that. We can create different sessions, or if it's a one session, we can work something intensive so that you can have a clear goal. In 2017, I want to reach this. It could be a health goal, it could be a financial goal, it could be a family goal, it could be a personal goal, whatever the case may be. It could be a goal with the community, what you want to do, be in a better place, whatever the case may be. So for those of you guys who want that, make sure you send me an inbox message. Say, hey, Salem, I'd like to be part of your personal coaching. Just say, I want to be part of this coaching session you want to do. We'll set up a time and get that done. But that was all for me. I love you guys, and remember, you're God's very best, and may 2017 be the best year you ever had. That's my prayer for you. Love you guys. Take care. See you next time. Deuces.